Hi everybody, it's Liz from Grow Your Mindset here, and we are introducing to you during season 2 of our Mindset in You interviews, the wonderful Paul Lim, who myself and Gemma have connected with quite recently, relatively recently, and Paul has been a bit of a rock for us in terms of us developing as a business. So we're going to let him introduce himself and talk about what he does. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Liz. It's absolutely fantastic to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So introduce us to yourself and just explain your current role to us.
Right. Okay. So I own a company called Lancashire Business Growth, and we trade as ActionCoach Bolton. And I'm obviously the managing director there and also their head coach. So we help business owners to become better business owners. We're a business coaching company, but we actually coach business owners, not companies.
Right. And do you coach companies within your local area, or do you expand across the Northwest? Do you have a limit of where you?
Well, we're really focused on local companies. You know, we're really focused on helping as many Northwest-based companies as we can, and even more local than that, really, because most of the work that we do tends to be around East Lancashire, sort of Blackburn, Accrington, Burnley, the M65, Preston as well, the M65 corridor, and also Bolton and Bury and surrounding areas to that. We don't tend to go into Manchester, although I've actually got clients as far and wide as Birmingham, London, and even San Diego, believe it or not.
Wow, gosh, right, okay. So the sky is the limit then, but you do like to have that hub of locality.
Yes, absolutely. We're focused. Our purpose is to help as many local business owners as we can, particularly sort of during the current times, during the pandemic. We know we just want to try and help as many local businesses as we can to not only survive but thrive during and after the pandemic.
Right, okay, well that leads us on to the next bit really, in terms of your passion. Okay, so what makes you so passionate about your current role as a business and leadership coach for ActionCoach? What is it that drives you to do what you do?
As I've already said, I discovered a long while ago that my purpose is just to help people in whatever form that takes. And really, business coaching and action coach is the ideal vehicle for that, because we can have a massive impact, not just on the business owners that we're working with, but on their employees and future employees. We've got a quest to help 1,000 local business owners employ 1,000 more people over the next 5 to 10 years. So we're determined it's not just about the business owner, it's about their teams. And the more people we get involved with ActionCoach, the more funds we have available to help others in terms of the charities we support and other pro bono activities that we do. So we've helped over 500 people for free during the pandemic with gifted coaching sessions. We've given away all of our spare coaching slots. We've done free webinars and free workshops for people.
Right. And have you recognised that people have embraced that, or have you seen different? Has it been a bit of a roller coaster ride in terms of people's engagement, or has it?
No, we've had lots of engagement from people who've just wanted help, business owners who maybe just needed to speak to somebody.
Yeah.
People who felt like they just didn't know which way to turn. And what those gifted sessions and the webinars and workshops do is just help to give them a little bit of clarity and focus on how to move forwards. You'll know yourself, sometimes people get into a mindset where it's like sort of walking through treacle and they just don't know what to do. You know, there's that much going on, they don't know what to do. So we just help to give them some clarity and focus. And we're called ActionCoach for a reason. It's because we want people to get into action, to have some specific action points that will help them move forwards. And everybody's embraced that. We've had some great feedback, some really positive comments across social media, across LinkedIn and various others, to the extent where we've actually been nominated, and thank you to the person who nominated us, for a HSBC Community Hero Award. I don't consider myself a hero by any means, so I think the award's probably been named incorrectly, because there's heroes out there, but you know, just for the number of people that we've helped and supported and moved forwards as a result of that. So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. I mean, in terms of, you mentioned the word clarity there, and in terms of that, for myself and Gemma, as a new business, we're in our 2nd year of business. For us, it was a stage of where it was almost like we'd come to a bit of a path divert, and we didn't know which way to go as a business owner. And you've provided that clarity and given us so much food for thought in terms of our own growth as individuals, but how we then engage in our business. And you say to us it's about working on your business, not in your business. And that really does ring home with us in terms of our journey. So we really appreciate everything you're doing as well. But you've not always done what you've done. Okay, so in terms of your previous occupation, or you might have more that you've not told me about, but it may come to a bit of a surprise to the people listening what you used to do. And the role that you used to do would definitely require to be a positive mindset influencer. Well, it would if I was one of your clients. So can you recall any stories where you've had to be a positive influencer within even in your current role as well, but obviously your previous role? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Right, so I started off in my coaching career, goes back over 30 years. And I started off in high performance sports coaching, which a lot of people do. But it's also high pressure sports coaching. It was as a parachute instructor and a skydiving instructor. So we take people like you and Gemma and myself, and on a Saturday morning they turn up at the parachute centre thinking that they were going to die on a Saturday afternoon. And my job was to convince them that it was perfectly reasonable to throw themselves out of a serviceable aeroplane at 2,500 feet by 5:30 or 6 o'clock that evening. So there was some work that went on around mindset, but to be honest, with people who come along for the first time, most of the work is about practice. It's about drilling.
Yes.
It's overcoming fear with logic and explaining what happens, how things work, and then simply practice and practice and practice until it becomes second nature to them. And I swear to God now that if I walked down the street and I saw one of the people that I trained, that I could, if I crept up behind them and tapped on the shoulder and shouted "go," that they'd jump out like 1,000, 2,000, because it's that ingrained into their head. But we'd also take more experienced skydivers up to 10 or 12,000 feet, and 3 or 4 of us would jump out of the aeroplane at the same time.
Yeah.
While we were in free fall, we'd coach using hand signals while we were plunging and plummeting towards the ground at 200 feet a second. So, thankfully, we don't ask any of our clients to do that. But for me, that requires people to step outside their comfort zone.
Very much, yeah.
Whether it's the first time, or the 5th time, or the 500th time they're doing a parachute jump, you are outside of your comfort zone. And what you've got to remember is that in order to learn new things, in order to experience new things, you've got to get outside your comfort zone. Because if you stay inside your comfort zone, you're never going to get anywhere. Humans by nature will move towards pleasure and away from pain.
Yeah.
And, move away from their uncomfortable zone and into their comfort zone. There's 2 kinds of pain. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I'm certainly not going to be lying on my deathbed with regrets. I want to be lying there thinking, I've done absolutely everything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And jumping out of a plane was one of them, and I just got hooked on it and decided that I wanted lots of other people to share that same experience.
That adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Do you miss that?
Yes, if I'm a little.
Yeah.
Since then, I've learnt to fly. I've got a private pilot's license.
Right,
so
okay.
Now I go flying from our local airfield in a little Cessna 172. So I still get, I'm still an adrenaline junkie. I'm still an altitude junkie. So I like getting up in the sky. Surprisingly, I'm actually frightened of heights as well, though. Well, I'm not frightened of heights. I'm not even frightened of falling. I'm just frightened of the sudden stop at the bottom. So.
Right. Yeah, that's not, inevitable, but yeah. Well, it's interesting actually, because my husband's birthday this week, and I got him one of those red letter day things, and I booked a hot air balloon for 2.
Oh, fantastic. So you're going to be going up in that with him?
Yeah, so it's
Amazing.
valid till July next year, and with COVID they said they'd be flexible. So yeah, I've never done anything like that before, so I'm excited about that. A
Oh,
basket between me and the earth.
it's the one thing I haven't done. I've never
Right,
been on a hot air balloon ride.
right.
While we were skydiving, some of my skydiving colleagues actually got to go and jump out of one, and it's my only regret that I never got to jump out of a balloon.
Doing that with them,
But
yeah.
it's a very different experience if you can imagine jumping out of an airplane that's doing 70, 80 miles an hour through the sky when you jump out, as
Yeah,
opposed to jumping out of something which is absolutely still when you get out of it.
yeah,
So, really
yeah,
interesting.
that's, yeah. In fact, I probably find it a little bit harder to do because with an aeroplane, you've got that rush of going.
You've got that forward momentum, you've got the wind against your
Yeah,
skin and everything, yeah. But I'd encourage anybody who's not done something like that to get outside your comfort zone. Because what
yeah,
happens is if you want to learn something new, it's always going to be uncomfortable when you start. It's like if you the first time you do a podcast, or
yes,
the first time you get up on stage to speak to a room of people, or the first time you
yeah,
go to a networking event and you have to stand up and tell everybody about your business. It is
mm,
uncomfortable.
mm,
And no matter how much you practice, it's still going to be a little bit uncomfortable.
yeah,
The more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And your comfort zone starts to expand
yeah,
until what was uncomfortable becomes comfortable. And then
exactly.
you just expand and expand and expand.
Yeah, so really you should see it as being like a bit of a magnet and like embracing all these experiences and opportunities
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then expanding out. Yeah,
Yeah,
fabulous.
definitely.
You've already mentioned about an award that
Yeah.
you have been nominated for, which is fantastic. And can you tell us a little bit more about what you consider the setbacks that have been for businesses during COVID, and the mindset that has been magnified because of those setbacks in terms of business owners' reluctances and the things that they've sort of like opened up to you about? That what are the main, I mean, I know for me, myself and Gemma, we're on our own journey, and COVID has magnified certain triggers within us. What have you spotted in terms of the coaching you've been doing?
Well, it really depends on the individual business owners. We've seen all sorts of different reactions to COVID, from people
Mm,
who've stuck their heads in the sand, pulled the shutters down, and said, um, "We'll see you when it's all over," to
right.
those who are resigned to the inevitable, to the opposite end of the spectrum, where people are saying, "Right, what do we do differently? What do we do now? How do we move forwards? How do we
Mm,
make it work?"
mm,
And everybody's got a choice on what they do. The way we feel about stuff is a choice. And we work with those business owners who want to do something different.
mm,
If you see so many posts on social media, especially early in lockdown, people had shut the businesses, and then the only thing you saw of them on social media was them complaining about somebody else who hadn't shut the business, who was still working, who was still moving forwards,
mm,
um, and was still employing people and still keeping people in work safely, but in
mm,
work, doing what they
mm.
want. So sometimes there's not a lot you can do to help those kind of people who would just blame the situation or deny that there's anything that they can do about it. We've got to focus on those who want to take ownership and accountability of what they can do, and
Mm,
help them to move forwards. So lots of different reactions to the early part of lockdown,
mm,
and lots of different reactions since then as well. And my main advice to people is, one, to stay positive, and two, to look at the things which are inside of your control.
mm,
And I know you and Gemma work with companies and children, and focus on the things, help them to focus on the things which are inside of their control,
mm,
rather than the things which are either completely outside of their control, or only the things that they can influence rather than control directly.
mm.
So we get business owners to focus on the things which are within their control, and the thing that is within their control is the way they react.
Yeah.
So they have a choice about the way they react to everything that's happening. And
Mm,
they either say, right, we can't do what we're doing now, let's do something different, but not just pull the shutters down, stick their heads in the sand.
Yeah, I love that. So you can't control the situation that you're in, but you can control how you react towards it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very much so. Okay,
And
fantastic. So go on, sorry.
So I was just going to say that's true of everything in life, isn't it? It's not just about business owners. This is about everything in life.
Relationships and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in terms of mindset, I mean, you know, myself and Gemma are passionate about developing growth mindset within business owners and the teams. What have you said? What would you say is your biggest challenge for you as in terms of your own mindset? Because you're there day in, day out, positively influencing others. But what have the challenges been for you and your team, and how have you overcome those challenges? Because you're like everybody else, you're human.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's a really interesting question because, you know, we have got to stay positive and motivated all the time. And as you say, I'm no different to everybody else. There are some days where it is more of a challenge. You know, especially when you get to this time of the year, you know, you get up in the morning and it's dark, it's wet, it's windy, and you open the curtains and you think, do I really have to go and do me exercise in this? As opposed to those days where you get up in the middle of summer and it's lovely and warm and there's a nice breeze and the sun's shining, and you think, well, why wouldn't I want to be getting up and doing it? Like this. So it's about keeping that motivation up for all of us. And for us, it's been more around actual just logistical challenges in terms of whether we work from the office, work from home, the technology that's needed to do all that. Switching some of our group programs from face-to-face to Zoom, which again is another a mindset challenge, because I can sit here and say, oh, well, the clients all wanted to do face-to-face. They're not going to want to come onto Zoom. We're going to lose a load of clients.
Yeah.
And that's my own head trash. You know, it's, and we often say, look, you know, whatever you believe to be true is your truth. It's not everybody else's truth. And when we actually moved online, we didn't lose any clients. In fact, we've got more new clients as a result of running group programs online than we've ever had before. So I think you have to challenge your own mindset. You have to challenge your own truths. And it's all about the self-talk that you have. You know, the most, I've been saying this over and over again to our clients, the most powerful force in the world, which can help you do things which you never thought possible, or can hold you back from doing even the simplest of things, is this. And, you know, we've seen time and time again with business owners, when they start, it's like, we call them BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. When we talk to business owners about things, and they suddenly start to think about things in a different way and listen to what they've actually been saying to themselves, and start to tell themselves more positive things, then magical things can start to happen.
Perception is very powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's self-deception.
Yeah,
the most powerful thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, your team's growing as well. So in a positive light, you're recruiting, you're expanding, you're taking on specific people with roles. So you're definitely embracing the situation. And in terms of going online, I just think it's provided so much more flexibility for people, and opened up.
Yeah, we've grown from 2 people at the start of the pandemic. It was just myself and our client liaison manager and my PA, to 5 now. So we've got extra marketing and sales functions now within the business. Our business has more than doubled during lockdown since the start of COVID, and I have absolutely no doubt that some of that is down to the fact that we're working online as well as face-to-face events. So where we used to do our events at the Last Drop Hotel in Bromley Cross, near Bolton, we're now doing them online. So we have people from further afield joining us who perhaps wouldn't want to travel to the location, but are happy to join us on Zoom. And when we go back to there are some people in our groups who are desperate just to have some face-to-face contact again. And we're now doing 1 or 2 networking events that are face-to-face, but in COVID-secure environments. while we can, unless the government restrictions
things change.
We will give all of our clients the choice about what we do when we are able to run live events again. And if we get enough clients who say we want to do live events, we'll do live events. If we get somebody who want to stay online, we might run 2 separate lots. So I'm not going to let head trash get in the way of moving back to doing face-to-face or live.
No.
There'll be a call for both.
Yeah, there'll be a balance for both, won't there?
Yeah. So our business has been fabulous during lockdown. We've had and I think the basis of that is just having a really positive mindset about what you can do moving forward.
Yeah, brilliant. So developing your abilities, seeking new opportunities. So embracing that challenge rather than, like you said before, burying your head a little bit. What do you call it? Bed? Is it blame, excuses, denial?
Yeah. We have one of our generalized principles, which is all about working above or below the point of power. And the point of power is just a choice that you make in life. And if you choose to be below the point of power, then you are employing blame. You're blaming others or the situation. You're making excuses as to why you can't do things, or you're just denying that there's any issue at all with you or anything. And people in that situation just don't have any power to change anything. Hence the point of power. People who are above the point of power take ownership of any particular situation, and so become the owner of their ship, if you will. And become accountable. So have the ability to account for their actions and take responsibility, which, the ability to respond to a situation in a positive frame. And if you're able to do that in any given situation, then you've got all the power that you need. It's the difference between a victim mentality and a victor mentality. So do you want to be a winner or do you want to be a victim?
Brilliant. So based on that then, if you were to give anyone some advice in terms of, if someone's listening in today and they're contemplating starting a new business within the pandemic, or they're a new startup, what 3 pieces of advice would you give them?
There are so many. So keeping to 3 is going to be a challenge. As you know, I can talk all day. I would say, number 1, look after yourself before you look after your business.
Right.
Especially if you're in an early startup, or it's just you working in the business as a sole trader or as a solo or partner owner of a limited company. If you stop working, your business stops working at that stage. So look after your own well-being. There's 5 pillars that we always talk to our clients about. So your diet, make sure you've got a great diet, make sure you're getting some exercise, making sure you're hydrating, making sure you do a little bit of meditation to clear your mind every now and again, and making sure that you've got a good sleep pattern that suits you. And if you're covering those 5 areas, then you're going to be in a much better position to be really positive about moving your business forward and doing all the things that you need to do, because it can be tough in the early stages. It's not an easy process. Being a sole trader, being on your own in a business, as you and Gemma have found as well with your business, or if you're just in the process of starting a business up, it can be a challenging time and exciting.
Oh, yeah.
But challenging. So my first piece of advice would really be, look after yourself. Look after yourself. And as the late, great Jim Rohn, who's a business mentor and a business guru, no longer with us, used to say, work harder on yourself than do on your business. Never wish life was easier. Wish you were better.
Right.
So with that in mind, I'd say my second piece of advice would be this. If you look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're usually the average of those 5 people. So if you want to get better at a certain thing, find people who are better at it than you are, and surround yourself with those kind of people. For instance, somebody who wants to learn to play golf. You want to learn to play golf, go and find 4 or 5 golfers who are much better at it than you are and go play with them. You will absolutely, definitely get better. They might get a bit hacked off while you're getting better as you're hacking your way around, but you will absolutely
that annoying little
get better.
brother.
Yeah. if you want to get better at business, then find 5 people who are better at business than you are, or better at a particular aspect. If you want to get better at marketing, find 5 people who are brilliant at marketing the businesses and go and talk to them.
Yeah, be inspired.
Yeah. And your levels will rise. For any given situation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So
yeah. And it's very true that, because as a new business, you can become quite defensive quite quickly, can't you?
Yeah.
And you compare yourself with other people, and you keep things to yourself. And me and Gemma were just we so value collaboration and being inspired and working with. We're always like reaching out to other people, and we've just grown in ourselves because of that. But I can very easily understand how some people go onto the fixed side and keep things to themselves, and that ends up just swallowing you whole, really, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. One of the most challenging things as a business owner, being in business as a business owner, can be a lonely place because the buck stops with you. And quite often there's nobody else to bounce ideas off or to go to talk to. So make sure you've got people that you can talk to. Come and talk to me, arrange a Zoom call. We do free business strategy sessions. We'll talk to anybody about the business. I mean, that would be, as an aside, one piece of advice I will give everybody is get a coach.
Yeah.
Get a coach. But I would say that, wouldn't I? So at least, Liz, I would expect you and Gemma to say the same thing, though.
Do you know what? It's something that I don't know whether there's a little bit of almost like a defeating like admittance to having a coach sometimes, because it's almost like you're not good enough. Do you know that sort of feeling? It's a bit like a counsellor, and you're admitting to others around you that you've not quite got it where you want to be.
That's a really interesting mindset, isn't it? So think about it this way: apply that same philosophy to sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that's the philosophy that Usain Bolt had?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm going to have to admit defeat now and get a coach.
Yeah, definitely not, no.
Do you think that's the philosophy that Bill Gates or the CEO of Google had? Because they've all got coaches. And that's about your own mindset and the head trash that individual business owners have around the business. I don't want to admit defeat by getting a coach.
Yeah.
Most of our clients are companies who are doing really well, but they want to do even better.
Exactly. Yeah.
How can I take those incremental steps to get even better? Because coaching is not just about helping people to get out of the mire. It's about helping individual business owners and their teams to take incremental steps to get better in whatever areas of business and life they want to get better at. So, it could be any aspect of business or their interactions with other people. And it's about understanding that we're on a lifelong journey of learning. And the thing one of the things that will stop business owners getting a coach is ego.
Yeah.
When I first became a business owner a few years ago, when I first started, I had this massive ego. I was a business owner and I was the managing director. It said on my business card I was the managing director and co-owner of a business. So I had to know everything. I'm a business owner now. I should know everything. Which is why quite often I was sat there at 7 o'clock on a Friday evening when all of my team were out on the lash in Bolton, having a great time. I was a business owner. I should know everything. It doesn't have to be like that.
No.
So, when we're talking to business owners, the one thing we always say is, look, number one, you have to be ambitious. You do actually want to grow your business to be a commercial, profitable business that could work without you if you wanted to. So it's got maximum value. But secondly, you've got to be open-minded. You've got to understand. You've got to have a growth mindset. You've got to know that in order to earn more, you've got to learn more. So as long as people have that kind of mindset, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Well, that was a really long answer to
and I think you've only given me. Have you given me 2?
I'm going to give you 2. But we're not counting. Yeah, we're not counting the get a coach one. There's one of them.
Yeah.
But get a coach. Go talk to a coach. And
Definitely.
the third one is to read books.
Yeah.
You know, read a book a week for the rest of your life, and you'll never go far wrong. But make it focused. Make it books that are about a subject that you need to learn more about. You know, quite often I'll get business owners who say to me, "Paul, recommend a business book for me." And my response is always, "Well, what do you want to learn about?" Because I can recommend 100 different business books, but it might not be about the subject that you actually need the most help and support on at that particular time. So I tend to recommend books which are on a subject that they need to learn more about. So I've got a big recommendation pile down at the back of me just here that's just out of shot that you can't see. So you've just finished reading the book, haven't you?
I tell you something, I'm just like, hey, you'll be impressed. I've made notes like you wouldn't believe on the habits, 7 habits, and the fanatical prospector. Look at all them sticky notes in there.
Brilliant.
Okay, are you impressed?
Yeah, for any business owners who want a book about prospecting, about lead generation, then you do far worse than to start with Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount. The other book that you referred to there is a book that's now over 30 years old, but is as relevant today as it was when
Definitely,
and that's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. Brilliant book.
What I loved about that one as well is it tied in so much with the work myself and Gemma do, because we touch on habits of mind. So some of those pointers in that book really rang bells with me, and I could really associate with it, but in a business style rather than from teacher to pupil. Or so it was really interesting. I love that book. Fantastic. So if people want a coach, how do they find out more? Where do they contact you? What do they do?
Well, we're just about visible on every piece of social media you can find, probably apart from TikTok at the moment. So
you're not there dancing yet?
No, not my forte. Although I am doing Strictly Learn to Dance, apparently.
Right.
Yeah. So you can find us through LinkedIn. If you search for my name on LinkedIn, or Action Coach Bolton on LinkedIn. If you just Google Action Coach Bolton, you'll find our website, which is bolton.actioncoach.co.uk. You can email us on bolton@actioncoach.com. So there's lots and lots of different ways of getting in touch. But I would just urge any business owners just to have a conversation. If you're open to learning and you've got challenges in your business or you want to get better at, if you want to make more profit, if you want to some help with building a great team to help you run your business for you, if you want more time to do the things that are really important in your life, you know, when we talk to business owners, it's about their dreams. And when most people go into business, they might say, well, I want to earn enough to get by, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. But ultimately, when I really get when I talk to them in detail, it's about being able to get home in time to pick the kids up from school. Or it's about being home and being able to have tea with the family, or to be able to read a bedtime story to the children before they go to sleep, or being able to take an afternoon off work and go to the sports day. Those kind of things, which many business owners find really, really challenging. That's why I'm in business doing what I do. It's to help business owners achieve those dreams. Have the disposable income, the freedom to choose what they do and when they do it.
That work-life balance, so important. That's brilliant. Well, do you know what? I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat. I know we meet regularly through Business Over Breakfast and then through our business growth that myself and Gemma are involved in. So, but I hope that's given a snippet to people out there that haven't really linked with coaches before, how valuable you really are. So so thanks for that, Paul. And
thanks so much, Liz.
And I'm sure we'll be sharing things on social media and things like that, so people will see more of you as well. So brilliant. Thank you very much. You take care.
Thank you for the time, Liz, and congratulations to you and Gemma on your business, because it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Take care. See you later.
See you later. Bye.